Eamon's working too hard at the pace, actually, and he seems to be going through a bad patch. But I mean, it's fast, and he'll get his chance again. And as I say that, he's responding. But Kameli coming through 5,000 metres there, 13:36, which is world record pace for the 10,000 metres. But if you watch them come around this top bend, and you can see Boutayeb right now, they're very aware of the scoreboard, which they can see the replay of the race. So when they come into the straight, you watch them, they're looking up at the clock, at the scoreboard. There's Boutayeb glancing across. They can see what kind of gap they've got behind them, and that's modern day electronics coming to the aid of distance runners. Emil Zelefek never had such help in his day, David.
Did Brendan Foster?
Actually, once or twice I could have done with it, but I mean, we didn't have it then. It was just before the war, you know.
The 5,000 metre time, just over 13:36. So if they continue at the same pace, 27:12, a possibility, Brendan?
Intrinsically, I would say they're not going to beat the world record in the Olympic final, because the object of the exercise is to win the gold medal. But the way they're running, and it's not just one man, it's two, and it's the third Kenyan, and Thibault's running very, very well in fourth place there. And who knows whether Barrios can keep stretching that group and pull them back to the leaders. Eamon, by the way, has moved into the third group, so he is in a little bit of trouble.
Got a new leader now, Boutayeb, the young Moroccan. He's really come through this season. Checking what's going on behind him, and it's better than looking round. So the Kenyans being challenged. Okay, you've had your go, boys. Now let's see what you're made of. 11 laps to go, and Boutayeb kicks on in front. Kameli in second place, Tanui is third, and Thibault fourth. In fifth place, Barrios. Sixth is Prianon, seventh is Ignatieff. Eamon Martin with real problems now.
Eamon trying to dig in there, but just a thought and a reflection back on those Rome World Championships. We've got Africa 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. Remember that in Rome they won every distance event from 800 metres to the marathon. They were the dominant force to emerge from those Rome Championships, and here we have 3 Africans leading in this very fine 10,000 metres. 2 of them Kenyans, where the rewards for success are growing back home, and where their president, Arap Moi, has made it perfectly clear that more money is going to be put into sport, and he doesn't just want American-based athletes, he wants Kenya-based athletes, and he's showing a great deal of interest in them, and the Kenyans doing well here. And so is this young man who's leading.
6-kilometer time is now shown on the scoreboard.
Boutayeb had a hard season for a youngster, but my word, he looks fresh at the moment. Barrios been overtaken by Prianon, the Frenchman, in the chasing group. Ignatieff goes behind Prianon. And Eamon Martin has dropped out of the race. He's just dropped out with 10 laps to go. Walks away from the track, never looked happy, doesn't look distressed, but the running just was not there.
Well, when I think about it, he's got the 5,000 metres to come, 3 rounds of the 5,000 metres, and this is his first games at the 10,000 metres, and I think he had a sneaking feeling when he ran the heat. He didn't feel good, he didn't look good, and I think he had sneaking doubts in his mind about his fitness and his ability to run in the second round of the 10,000, which is this one, the final. But Boutayeb, he's been on the circuit all season, and some people have thought he's run too many races, but at the moment it doesn't look like that. This looks like a straight race between Boutayeb and the 2 Kenyans, and Thibault in fourth place, and then there's an awful gap now. And now that Barrios has lost the lead in that leading group, I think there's little chance of the chasing group doing anything. But having said that, Kunz is still in there. He must be thinking about doing something himself.
Well, the very tough character in front of that group, Prianon, he's realised the dangers, and he's really taking them along. Prianon of France, who's done 27:46 this season. And Thibault's gone back into third place, and Tanui's suffering. But what a run this is by the youngster, whatever happens now. I've said before at earlier meets and during the semi-finals of the 10,000 metres, this boy Boutayeb from Morocco, when he started the season he was 19, he's now 21. This is the sort of lack of history that comes through with some of the unknown athletes. But we've confirmed his age now as 21. He was running a lot of races, back-to-back hard races too, 5s and 10s early in the season. We thought he was perhaps doing too much for a youngster, but he couldn't look better at the moment. And Tiba goes through third, Tanui suffering in fourth place, Priyanor 347, Barrios is 756, the big man in red is the Bulgarian Ignatia. Arpa of France is in that group as well, and Kunze of East Germany. But that group is now, what, some 70, 80 metres behind, and Priyanor rather has broken away from the chasing group and making a real kick on his own to try and get back in the race. He's decided there's no point in sitting around there. Perhaps he felt for a moment or two he was a target leading the rest, but he's kicked very, very hard indeed to try and get back into the medal positions. Bouطieb looks up at the giant television picture and sees that Kameli hasn't disappeared.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen a 10,000 metres like this. This is savage distance running. I mean, this is the way I like to see it. But there are gaps, they're spread eagles around the track. Normally they run in groups, but the pace has been so fierce that there's gaps between first and second, second and third, third and fourth, fourth and fifth, and then fifth and sixth, and that's the only point where there's any group at all. And this is just like a hard slog. This is what they do, and the Kenyans can do in the winter, but the Moroccans doing it to them here in the summer. The World Cross Country Championship looks a little bit like this, with athletes running with gaps in between them, but I've never seen it on a track before. And Bouطieb, well, he's been training with a Wheater. He knows exactly what he's been doing all season. Obviously, he's been training for a hard run. And when the Kenyans, everyone expected them to lead, and they did. He followed them, he took on, he pressed ahead, but he's got a gap which is not quite enough. It's not a winning lead yet. There's still a race on here.
And Antibo, the Italian in third place, is closing up, and closing up quite rapidly. But Kameli is certainly losing ground now to Bouطieb as they come around with 6 laps to go. Right on world record pace. Kameli in second place, and Thibaut is catching him slowly, and that's the way to do it. Tanui in fourth place, and slowly too, Priyanor is catching Tanui. Barrios is 6, Kunze 7, and Arpa 8. A magnificent piece of running by this Moroccan. We expected Moroccan gold to come from a Wheater, but
I wonder what will be the headline story in tomorrow's papers in Morocco if he wins, because will it be a Wheater loses, or will it be Bouطieb wins?
A Wheater, of course, if you've just got up and joined us, finished third in the 800 metres, won by one of the Kenyans. And Antibo has let them do the hard work, and he's got back in the race. Now, the small Italian, who's been around in so many major championships without actually winning one, is working hard now to get back at the Moroccan.
Well, Bouطieb has got a lead, which is, you know, if he can only stretch it another 10 metres, he can then relax. But the fact there are 2 of them in the chasing group makes it doubly difficult, because Kameli will be wanting to go past Antibo. He won't be happy that Antibo is going to run away from him. And just as I said that, he's actually moved up alongside him. He's actually just moved past him. So the race is still on in second place. And if they start competing, then they've got a chance to pull themselves back towards Bouطieb. But he's coming up with 4 laps to go. He'll be delighted to see that 4-lap marker, because somehow psychologically, when you know you're in the last mile of a 10,000 metres, no matter how much you're hurting, you're on the way home, you're well on the way home. I mean, it would be pointless for Bouطieb to fade away now, but Kameli's chasing, Antibo's struggling in third place, and this is a fantastic 10,000 metre run.
It really is. They're strung out around the track. Bouطieb leads, Kameli in second place, and Thibaut perhaps worked too hard to get back up to second, and now falling back in third place. Priyanor is fourth. Tanui in 5th place. But this is a beautiful piece of distance running by Boutib. Kameli's chasing, but he's some 20 to 25 metres back. And Thibaut looks back to see if he's safe in 3rd place. He surely is, because Prianon is only just coming into the straight. Behind him, Tanui. It's Kameli going through, and Thibaut in 3rd place. Pickford there, the American's been lapped, and he's a class distance runner. There's Prianon, the man in 4th place. Tanui's behind him 5th. Then Barrios of Mexico in 6th place. Kunzer of East Germany is 7th. Arpan of France is 8th. Boutib looking round. Looked to be an anxious look on his face, but his legs look very strong.
His legs do look strong, but he's coming up with 1,000 metres to go. We'll just check on that time at 1,000 metres. 24:35 for 1,000 metres, which is still well on world record pace. Now, if he accelerates over the last lap, he could go very close to the world record. But to me, this is his last danger point. He's within the last 1,000 metres. He does repetition work over 1,000 metres. This could be just like his last session in a training run. So all he's got to do is put his head down and keep going. And he's been in this situation all season in training. And now, as I say, they're coming up with 2 laps to go. And this is the last point that I think he could be caught. He's got 2 laps to go. Kameli keeps looking as though he's going to chase. And then Antibou's coming back to life. But if he gets to hear the bell and he's still got that sort of lead, then I think it's all over for Kameli and Antibou.
I'll just check on what Brendan Foster was saying there, just working out the timing. The world record held by Fernando Mamidi of Portugal, set in 1984 at 27 minutes 13.81. So that's a figure to remember, 27:13.81. Kameli, the man in 2nd place, looks back at Antibou, who's still hanging on to him, the Italian. And those 3 look certain to take the medals. Prianon in 4th place. Barrios 5, Kunze 6, Arpan 7, and Tanui, the other Kenyan, going backwards now in 8th place. Boutib this time sees 1 lap to go. If he really wants this world record, he's got to run the last lap inside 57 seconds, and surely that is impossible. But he's going for gold and the Olympic title. And a tremendous race for 2nd place. That's Prianon of France back in 4th. But the race for 2nd place is really on now. Kameli of Kenya and Antibou of Italy. And Boutib is going away from the other 2 are chasing him. This is a superb piece of distance running, and they've found another Awita. 21 years old and striding away to Olympic gold. And meanwhile, the battle for 2nd place is on behind him. Antibou trying to pass the Kenyan, but Kameli won't give way. And Boutib sprinting for home. He's outside the world record, and Antibou is going to take the next one. And he just trots in and says, hey, look at this. I've got the gold. He looks back at Antibou. Boutib gold. Antibou, Italy, takes the silver. And Kameli of Kenya the bronze. They know they've been in one of the great races of all time. Just outside the world record, but of course a new Olympic record by a big margin. Prianon of France finishes 4th. Kunze 5th. Barrios 6th. Arpan 7th. Tanui in 8th place. And Tenkate of Holland in 9th. And that is the 4th, looking at the time, 27:21.47. And checking on the old time list, it was way outside it, and I was wrong about the 57-second last lap, I think. Actually, Brendan, looking
7:21, he could have broken the world record if he'd run 57:58 for the last lap, but he walked in the last 20 metres, and that's the 4th fastest time walking the last 20 metres. Incredible.